Let's go to our old friend Brody from Dallas. Brody, please don't torpedo today's session of calls.
I'm gonna do my best, David.
Thank
How's it
you.
going, man?
Going well.
Awesome. Hey, so we're fighting the good fight out here in Texas. We recently had a huge fiasco in the primary elections. We had a huge disparity. We had about 850 Democratic primary voters had their mail-in ballots rejected, and less than 10 Republican primary voters had their ballots rejected. One of the things we've struggled with here is getting help from DC. And I know that there's talk about Joe Manchin possibly carving out some things for different voting rights legislation. What I wanted to know is, what do you see as the most viable path for states like Texas to have protection from DC? Or do you believe that it's just going to have to come from all the state legislatures? And as a follow up, what would you like to see happen?
So the I don't know exactly what you're referring to in Texas. So without knowing the dynamics of it, it's very hard to say specifically what could address that. So just with that as a kind of disclaimer, I would love to see a new Voting Rights Act that restricts the things that states can do and allows for federal oversight. I think many states, they with the a couple years ago, states were sort of released from their requirements to pre-clear changes. I think we need to be adding more requirements in terms of changes that states want to make. That would be the ideal thing. I don't know that that's going to happen. And so, of course, it would be great if states did legislation on voting rights within their own states. But the problem is, Republican controlled states don't really have any interest in doing that. So it's a very tough situation. I don't know what the answer is.
And then, as a personal question, would you be willing, like, let's say, would you compromise at all if, let's say, Republicans in the GOP, in the Senate particularly, wanted to enact something? Would you, as a progressive and just you personally, be willing to acquiesce or agree to maybe including voter ID being required as a part of that, so long as it doesn't disenfranchise people? Or do you believe that voting ID is something that should be non negotiable from the Democrat and the progressive side of things?
So, two-part answer, and these are really, these are big topics, right? So there's a lot of different considerations. I am very skeptical of voter ID because it is a transparently bad faith way for Republicans to disenfranchise people. So that's why I have such a problem with voter ID as proposed and implemented. That being said, if there was a voting rights package that did significant good things and codified them into law, I'd be open to negotiating on voter ID, provided I was satisfied that there really is, it can't cost money to get the documents you need to get the voter ID. It can't require rural poor people to drive to the state capitol in order to get the documents they need to get the voter ID. Like, if I was really satisfied that all of those things were dealt with, I'd be willing to negotiate on voter ID as part of a bigger voting rights package. The problem is, in practice, we know it's just a bad faith way to purge people from voter rolls and prevent people from voting.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I'm glad to have talked with you, and I hope I lived up at least moderately or mildly to the expectations. And it's good to speak to you again. And please encourage all your voters, like you always do, to register and go out and vote.
Everyone must vote. Brody, thank you so much for the call. Let's take a quick break, but we're going right back to the phones in a moment. So if you still want to talk to me after hearing all of these calls, if you still want to talk to me, just hang on. One of our sponsors is Blinkist, who's been supporting the David Pakman Show longer than any other sponsor. Blinkist is the app that lets you listen to or read an entire nonfiction book in just 15 minutes. Blinkist is the way to absorb those books you can't make time for. Blinkist takes top nonfiction titles, pulls out the book's key takeaways and insights, and gives it to you in the form of a text or audio explainer that you can consume in 15 minutes. With Blinkist, now you actually do have time to learn about all the things you've been wanting to tackle. On the Blinkist app, I just listened to This Is Your Mind on Plants by the great Michael Pollan. super interesting, the history of caffeine and so many other things. Blinkist has you covered on podcasts too. Blinkist takes long episodes of popular podcasts and distills them into audio you can listen to in 15 minutes. With Blinkist, you can become knowledgeable about so many different things. You can have conversations with people about more topics. Blinkist makes you more well-rounded. Try Blinkist for free and get 25% off a subscription. Go to Blinkist.com/Pacman. The link is down below.